welcome to Spin That Back. This is Rick.
I'm Eric.
And this is our recap of the Uncharted franchise. So in honor of the release of Uncharted 4 at Thief's End, and what we're thinking it's going to be the last game in the franchise, we're doing two videos. So it's this one where we're going to recap the whole series, and then this one right here where we go into full spoiler talk as we cover Uncharted 4 from beginning to end pretty much, and just kind of talk about
all spoilers.
Yeah,
everything spoilers in this video.
Yeah, we're just gonna cover the whole series, what we thought, including part 4. It's looking like this is gonna be the last game in the franchise.
Yes.
So I mean, obviously, like the series grew a lot. From part 1 to part 4. I mean, part 1 was actually
it was an okay game.
It was still technically. I think it's remembered as a launch title, but I think it technically wasn't a launch title. Like, it didn't come out at launch.
No,
it was pretty early on in the PS3.
Yeah, it came out like in 2007.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was one of the big like games for.
Damn, I can't believe it's been like 10 years already.
Almost. Yeah, it's about 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously, I mean, you saw like Naughty Dog planted the seeds of what Uncharted would become with that first game. And even replaying it in the Nathan Drake collection, I mean, it's still pretty fun.
Yeah, it's a decent game. I mean, it hasn't aged all that great, but you can still go back and enjoy it.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, I think that one by far is always like the least liked.
Yeah.
By
most people.
Now that I think about it, is like each game kind of has its own thing, because there was really a lot more traversal in the first one. There was a lot more like platforming sections.
Yeah.
When you're climbing alongside cliffs and castles and shit, and you get a lot more of that. Yeah. In the first one, I think. And
I think overall, yeah, that one's that one didn't really have. I mean, it had a lot of action in it too, which I think actually that one probably had like the most enemies, because remember it's like a fuck ton of enemies.
Yeah,
in that
probably.
Game.
Yeah. But that one was really more like kill all the enemies, then you run to the next one, then kill more enemies, and it was like really repetitive in that way.
Yeah.
Not that it wasn't fun, but
I mean, it's still a decent game, but it's definitely the weakest one. I would rank them. Well, let me rank them real quick. I think for me, I'd rank the first one at the bottom. So in order from worst to best would be part 1, then 3, then probably, I don't know, honestly, like either 4 or 2.
I don't know. I might have to give it some time before I can
right
really
now,
rank them.
now I'd put 4, and then 2 is my favorite one. I don't know what order you put them.
Probably about the same for me. I guess. I mean,
they're all fucking dope, man. Like, this is one of the best series. This is definitely, I think, the best series, like PlayStation exclusive.
I mean, Naughty Dog really just took, like, what if we just made an Indiana Jones game? I mean, like, if you would have put Indiana Jones instead of Nathan Drake, it would have been like the best Indiana Jones movie, but you could actually play it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really.
Which I think that's one of the reasons why they shouldn't fucking make it into a movie, because like it's already inspired from a movie, and like, so why would you be like, it's an inspiration from a movie to a game, so like now you're making that into a movie, like,
yeah, but fuck? I mean, there have been so many movies that are like derivative of other ones.
I kind of want to see it, but either way, let's get back to the games.
Anyway, yes, but I mean, that's really all there was in part 1. I mean, in the setup, I mean, obviously we get to know Elena and Nate and Sully.
Yeah, we get like a good intro to their characters, but it was a decent game. But it wasn't really until part 2 where like, holy shit, like the series just like it went.
That one, like the jump from like the first one to the second one was incredible.
That was the biggest leap, I think.
Yeah, because I think, and for me, I think still, like, even just replaying part 4. I mean, part 4 was great in its own way, just because it was a lot more story heavy. It felt like it was like the wrap up that the characters deserved at that point. But part 2, I think, just on a pure action level, was like the pacing was like fucking awesome.
That had
in
the
that
best
game.
Pacing out of all of them.
Especially playing it again a few months ago. Like, man, like it's like nonstop. Like,
it's the best pacing by far. Like, I love part 4, but the pacing on this one was a lot better.
The weakest part, we mentioned this in our other video, is Lazarevich. He's just really like, he's just kind of too cornball, I think.
Very fucking generic.
Yeah. Yeah, just like but
I mean,
much.
he was alright, but we even then like besides him, like we get a lot of really dope characters. We get introduced to Chloe, which was a great character.
Yeah,
Flynn was an asshole. He was actually a really good villain too.
He was a good villain.
Yeah, he was a good villain, and then we get like that whole thing with like that dynamic between, like, we get like a love triangle.
Yeah.
Between Drake, Elena, and Chloe, and that kind of plays throughout the whole game. And just, I mean, I think definitely part 2 was the most fun out of the whole like series.
Yeah.
Like that's the one game where you jump into and like, damn, like this is just it's almost watching like a really fun action movie. You know, that's what that one felt like the most.
Yeah, I think the story was just kind of okay. It was kind of paint by the numbers. You know, it's like
it's pretty basic.
The betrayal, the backstabbing, the double crossing,
but the pacing was so dope.
But I think overall, it
was just like it was like Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like that shit was just like nonstop. You know,
yeah,
like,
and I think, I mean, we'll get to part 4 obviously, but I think as far as like, because there was like way more story in part 4, but I think this one kind of they really found like that perfect balance of like story and action. I mean, it doesn't carry the emotional impact that like part 4 did, but I think
that's why I feel kind of weird ranking it, because they feel like two different games almost.
Yeah, and that's the thing that shows you how much this series has grown. For people that say it's more style than substance, is like if you compare 2 and 4, like that leap, like comparing one to the other just kind of doesn't seem fair, like you said. Yeah. But if you played 1, 2, 3, 4 seems like a natural progression. Like it kind of feels like that's where the story should be at that point.
This is where it should end,
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, like I think 2 definitely was the best paced out of the entire series. Like it was so dope. Like that's still one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite games ever, really, and that's probably like
I played the fuck out of that game.
Was dope.
And the multiplayer
was
dope. We're still playing that shit up to like a few months ago. We're still playing. The servers are still up.
Probably still up now.
Yeah,
probably still a lot of people playing.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, the multiplayer I think was really underrated in part 2. I mean, we put easily like 100 hours each.
Yeah,
like
probably.
But probably more than that, to be honest.
Yeah, but that was a dope fucking game, man. Just overall, like I would definitely say it's the most fun to play. Like I think that's the one where you could go back and. Like I just wanted to play like a really fun, dope fucking game. Like that's the one out of the series that I would put.
Yeah.
And then
even like the length felt right. Like it just
everything was dope. Yeah. Except for the last boss fight was weak.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest complaint.
But I mean that's not enough to bring down the game, because overall the game was so dope.
It's still an incredible game.
Yeah.
And then
go to part 3.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously like part 3. I mean, having to live up to the hype of part, because part 2.
I remember when I first played part 3, I fucking hated it, man. Like the first half,
the beginning. I hated the beginning.
Oh my god! I was like, oh, I think because I also used to the fast pace and action of part 2.
Yeah.
I went into it 3 and I'm like, man, like this is taking a while to pick up. But honestly, like I think 3 actually probably had like my favorite set pieces out of the whole series. Like that cruise ship. Oh my god!
Yeah, when you get from like
even the chateau, like chateau's kind of early. That chateau
I think
man.
from the chateau on was like fucking awesome in that game.
Yeah.
Anything before then, like the first 2 or 3 hours, are kind of like, like we said
the story was okay, but it wasn't as well written as part 4. Like they're trying to tell a story. About some characters that we really don't know too much about. Like I think that worked, like the way they wrote it, and I mean I know that's Neil Druckmann, but that worked a lot better in part 4 than it did in part 3. But 3, I think overall, like once that action picks up, especially like towards the second half of the game, oh my god, like we get that chase scene with Talbot, which that chase was dope. Like when you chase him through Yemen, then we get. That thing where he's like going to the big cruise ship, but
he gets captured and he ends up on the cruise ship.
Before the cruise ship, like you get to that sequence when you're like shooting the ships with the RPGs and you gotta jump like abandoned ship at the end and jump onto the big cruise ship.
Yeah,
and we get that escape.
You go through that section on the docks.
Yeah, that was.
There's like the whole shootout on the docks. Then you go into the boats, then onto the cruise ship. Yeah.
I think honestly, like the pacing was just. Like at the beginning, I thought it was bad on part 3. Like it brought it down for me. But honestly, like the set pieces, and then we get like the shit in the plane, man. Like the cargo.
Yeah.
Like that
cargo. Then it goes
plane.
Into the desert.
Yeah, that was dope, man.
Then onto like the convoy, but like on horseback.
Yeah, that was dope. Like overall, like honestly, like I think part 3 probably had the best action sequences. But the pacing just wasn't really there, Like
even though I've heard criticism towards part 3 because they said that it kind of felt like. Which I didn't necessarily agree with, but that it was like that they just took like a bunch of different set pieces and tried to find a way to link them all together instead of it feeling more natural like it did in part 2.
And I think that's true in a way. I think the set pieces themselves are just amazing. Like I think those were the best ones in the series. But yeah, like I think just the way they connected, like they didn't connect as well. But when you got to them, you're like, oh damn, like this is so dope. Like on in that game, like that's one of those games where I want to go and just play the action sequences because they're so well done.
Only if they would have done like what they did on part 4, like if they had that where you could replay just the action sequences that they did in part 4.
Because 3 had like some amazing like that the whole thing with the chateau and then in that ship, that cruise ship was so dope. I don't know. Like I love like when I first played it, like the first half of part 3, I was kind of hated it in a way. But then like once I played the second half, I was like, oh my god, like this game was so dope. You know, I'd still rank. I think 2 is just overall a better game. But I mean, I love part 3. Like I thought it was just an amazing fucking game.
The multiplayer didn't feel as great to me as it did.
Well, it was actually like it's like kind of like they tried to do too much on 3.
Yeah.
Which I think now with part 4,
because
actually they kind of like locked it in. Like it feels better.
the
in part
multiplayer,
4.
yeah. Well, I haven't played the multiplayer since the beta, but I think.
But it works better.
I had a lot of fun with the beta. It felt
Yeah.
like the right balance of like what made the second one great and what made the third one great.
Yeah, that's just an add-on.
Yeah,
I mean,
because
you
I
really
think
games for the campaign.
because the multiplayer in part 2 felt really stripped down. It was like really basic. Like
but
you
that's
didn't-
what made it cool.
Like you didn't even have loadouts. Like you just you grabbed all
everyone
your
started
guns.
with the same gun.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think yeah, I mean we'll have to play the multiplayer in part 4 to see how it's been progressing, but I think part of what I didn't like to in part 3 was like some of the animations were kind of weird. Like when you're running, like you kind of put your hand on the wall.
They tried to do a little too much with the animations, and they completely just got rid of that in part 4, which I thought was smart.
Well, you still have those moments like where like Nate kind of
little
runs his hand,
but they didn't overdo it in part 4. Like I felt like they overdid it in part 3. You know, in part 4 they toned it down and they did it just enough. You know.
Yeah. And well, I guess that leads us into part 4.
Yeah, I mean, this was definitely it. Almost doesn't even feel like an Uncharted game, you know. Like it feels like a mix of The Last of Us and Uncharted. That's why I kind of feel weird ranking it in between because it's like it feels a lot different.
I think I have to give it some time, see how it ages.
I love part 4, man. Like I thought, I honestly like this is the perfect ending I think for the series. As a fan of the series, like this is a game that it's gonna connect more with the Uncharted fan than the casual gamer that goes into looking for like a cool, like fun action game to play. You know, like it's not gonna connect with them as much as it is with the Uncharted fan.
Yeah, I mean, we really haven't spoiled too much up to this point. So I mean, if you haven't played part 4 yet, I guess. I mean, really, like, do yourself a favor and play part 1, 2, and 3. Like, maybe part 1 hasn't aged all that well, but if you want to, 2 and 3, I think more than make up for it.
2 and 3.
And I'm telling you, like, having played through part 4, like the emotional impact, the payoff will be so much better if you've played, you know, okay, skip part 1, then go to part 2.
Yeah, you can even start from part 2.
You can even jump in part 2.
Part 2 and 3, and then do play 4.
Yeah, but really, like, do yourself a favor and play those if you haven't going into part 4. Just felt like the right time, and I think what they did story-wise, action-wise, everything, and then with the ending in part 4, I think it was just, like, really, like, the ending that the series, that the characters, and then us as the fans, like, really deserve. So, I mean, props to Naughty Dog, man. I mean, it'll be interesting. I mean, obviously, it's pretty much looking like they're going to have, like, another Last of Us game in them, and then maybe after that we'll get some sort of new property that they're going to come out with. But I'm pretty sure it'll be something good.
I mean, Naughty Dogs, honestly, I think they're the best, man. Like, look what they've done. Like, I think, honestly, like, from the whole, like, this... Because I loved, like, Uncharted 2 was probably, like, my favorite game, like, from the PS3 era. Like, oh, that's probably going to be my favorite PS3 game. And then they made The Last of Us, and I was like, oh, my God, like, this is probably even better than Uncharted.
It came, like, right at the end of the PS3.
Yeah, right at the end of the PS3 era. And then, like, we start off PS4, like, their first PS4 game was Uncharted 4. I was like, oh, my God, like, this game is so dope. Like, like Naughty Dog is just so good at what they do, you know? Like whatever they do next, I'm excited for it, you know?
Yeah, it just seemed like they kind of, like, threw everything that they had in them into this game. I mean, it took them so long to develop. I mean, this is, like, the longest development that they ever took, I think, in between
really
games.
Long fucking time.
But you see it there on the screen. And actually, one of the things that we didn't even cover, like, in our spoiler talk was, like, when we talked about the animations to a certain...
from
like you can see even
aspect,
the little details, like the nuances, like in their face, like in the cutscenes. Like you can even see sometimes like their reactions, like even you see like even just like the smallest twitch, like in their faces, like in the part on the beach. Like, where he's running and, like, you know, he's, like, you know, he covers his face from the water. And
then you see, like, the lightning and the wind blowing. It looks so dope,
man. I mean, and actually they even showed close-ups of, like, their hands. And you can see, like, the veins,
wrinkles, yeah. You
like,
see, like,
the wrinkles and the veins
it looks
in their
So
hands.
dope,
so, I mean,
man.
obviously, they're, like, at the top of their game.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, I think after playing these last 2 games, like, Naughty Dog is, like, at the top of from, like, a narrative perspective. What Neil Druckmann's been able to do with their last 2 games, like, 2 of the most, like, emotional games I've ever played. I mean, look how great these games look. Like, every game that they've released has been like the best looking game at the time. You know,
Yeah.
like Uncharted 2 was so dope. Uncharted, the graphics in Uncharted 3 was like, oh my god. And then The Last of Us, I was like, damn, like this is like so fucking dope. And
Yeah.
then like Uncharted 4 now, like man, like games keep looking better and better. You know, every
Yeah.
time they release it.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what the next game's gonna look like on a graphic
Yeah.
on a graphical level. Click on here, and that'll take you to our other video where we did our spoiler talk, and then other videos on our channel you can check out. And yeah, so like we said, it was kind of bittersweet saying goodbye to Uncharted, but you know, Naughty Dog's a great developer, and I'm sure they're gonna have a lot more exciting stuff coming up. So, but let us know what you guys think on the Uncharted series overall. Maybe you guys haven't even played it. Like we said in the video, do yourself a favor and get that Nathan Drake collection. Play part 4. I mean, you play like one of the best, you know, action adventure games ever really.
Yeah.
So yeah, so check that out. And if you're big fans like we are, let us know what you think down in the comments. What are some of your favorite moments, characters, set pieces, whatever you can think of, multiplayer, anything from the Uncharted franchise that you can think of. Let us know down in the comments. Hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you're not subscribing already, and we'll catch you on the next one.